Welcome to round one of the WA Sporting Car Club's 2024 season. Day one features HQ Holden, Formula V, FSR, Historic Touring Cars, and Time Challenge. HQ Holden's first out on the track for season 2024, and as per normal, side by side into turn number one, Michael Howlett and Stuart Kenny in car number 72, and back again this year, car number 3, new car, new paint job, new engine, new attitude for Troy Kent. Up and over the hill for the first time, and last year's two protagonists at it already, with Michael Howlett down the outside and Stuart Kenny looking for a pass up the inside on the entry into 6. So we pick up, coming up through the left-hander, through our S's, Ryan Davis falling back already, and would soon be having cylinder head problems, and that would see him not finish race number 1 for season 2024. But back up to the front, it was Howlett bump drafting Stuart Kenny down into 6, and Troy Kent in car number 3 trying to keep in touch with these two. Kenny with the lead into turn number 7 on lap number 3. As we see Troy Kent only 1 or 2 car lengths behind these fast two out the front. Then we go back to Ryan Davis in car 49. Peter Marsh, Todd Faulkner having a great run against Phil Breen. And our new driver all the way from New Zealand, Brett O'Keefe in car number 21, having a stellar debut. Battle still going at the front of the field. More bump drafting again from Michael Howlett on the way down into turn number 6. Stuart Kenny making every post a winner here as they enter into 6. Indian file. And more great HQ action also happening a little bit further back in the pack with Peter Marsh, fiery Phil Breen, and Troy Kent in car number 24. Very close racing in the middle of the field. As we can see here with Todd Faulkner looking for a run up the inside of Phil Breen on the entry into turn number 6. A great pass there from Todd Faulkner in car number 24, but Phil Breen managed to grab that position back on the entry into turn number 7, and it was side by side across the stripe. Peter Marsh doing his best to hold off Phil Breen and Todd Faulkner in car 24. Down into turn number 6, Peter Marsh runs wide on the entry, gets right out into the marbles, and the car gets super sideways, slips off the racetrack, and that will cost him 1 position with Brett O'Keefe about to drive past. And Peter Marsh recovering on the top of the hill. But back to our leaders, it's still Stuart Kenny in car number 72 with Michael Howlett, this time looking for the outside pass. Now down into 7, Howlett goes for the inside, driver's right of Stuart Kenny, a drag race across the stripe to start off season 2024, and it was Stuart Kenny by 0.4 of a second over Michael Howlett, and Troy Kent in car number 3 coming home in 3rd. Our first open wheel category for season 2024 was Formula V, and it was a great start from car number 71 of Rod Lisson, with Mason Legg in car number 85 doing his best to stay with Rod Lisson, and Paul Moltoni tacking on to the first 3 as they try to break away from a big field of combined 1200 and 1600 Formula Vs. Couple of new drivers for season 2024 with Madeline Matthews racing in car number 92 in the 1600s, and in the 1200s we have Isaac Scarey, son of Brett Scarey, And also Mackenzie Gow making a debut this year at carco.com.au Raceway, as we pick up on Moltoni and Mason Legg having a great battle, trying to stay into the gearbox of Rod Lisson as they come out over the stripe to reel off lap number 1. Andrew Lockett doing really well already after 1 lap. A quite sizable lead over his father, with April Welsh, Callum Lamont and Bruce Welsh having a fantastic day for the Welsh clan. Bruce Welsh changing numbers in season 2024. Used to be car number 24, but this is his 30th consecutive year of racing Formula Vs here in Western Australia. Congratulations to Bruce Welsh and the new car number 30 for season 2024. Pick up on Kathy Lisson in 4th place as we come across the top of the hill, the blind right-hander. And they have really dropped Mason Legg off. It's Paul Moltoni still trying to do his best to stay with Rod Lisson. Mason Legg able to gather himself back up out of turn number 6 and rejoin the fast 3 out at the front, who have really broken away from the rest of the field now. Mason Legg unfortunately getting caught out by one of the new drivers on turn number 4. But side by side again, this is what we come to notice with Formula V. It's never over until the checkered flags flies. It's still Rod Lisson by 2 car lengths over Paul Moltoni. And then we go back to car number 85 of Mason Legg, really starting to drop away now. This is where the action was, all up the front with Rod Lisson. Now coming up on some slower traffic, and great observation there by the slower driver. Held the line, let the faster cars go through. We start seeing this familiar puff of smoke from car 71 of Rod Lisson. At the line, it was for the 1200s, it was Andrew Lockett over his father, Miles Lockett, and April Welsh. A really good finish for April's season debut. In the 1600s, the winner was Rod Lisson in car number 71 from Paul Moltoni and car 85 of Mason Legg. After the race, Slim Jim caught up with Kathy Lisson, the president of the Formula V Association of Western Australia.
I'm with the president of Formula V, Kathy Lisson. Kathy, thanks very much for your time. Now, Kathy, how is Formula V shaping up for 2024?
It's going really well. It's got new members. We've got 3 new members here today, but we've got 2 new females.
So 2 new females. So how many females are actually in the Formula V competition currently?
There'll be 4 this year, which is really great.
Including yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, great.
April Welsh and now Maddie and Mackenzie joining us.
And you've got another team member for Team Scary as well, I believe.
Yeah, Isaac Scary's joined us.
And how old's Isaac?
I think he's only like 16.
Incredible. Incredible.
Yeah.
And that's really a family affair, obviously.
They are, yeah.
Is there 4 participants from the Scary family involved in Formula V?
Oh, they've got their mechanic, Simon, as well. So,
yeah, incredible. Yeah. So how many members have you currently part of Formula V?
I think we're at about 15.
That's great.
Yeah, there's more cars and more people, and hopefully over the year, especially with our nationals coming up, they'll come out.
Well, I was going to ask you about that as well. So the challenge, the nationals are coming to Perth, but they're also coming to Collie as well.
So we'll have the national challenge. Will be here in September, and then a week later we do the Australian series. So we'll be in Morgan Park, Phillip Island, and one more, which I've forgotten again.
Okay, so there's 4 major races.
Yeah, so 4 for the year. Yeah, and so hopefully we'll get around.
And is it 2 days competition when the actual nationals come here?
Yes.
To this raceway, to Carco Raceway?
Yes,
yeah, okay.
Hopefully we'll get lots of people over from over east. And
how competitive are the West Australian Formula V drivers comparative to what happens over east? Are they competitive?
We're very competitive. We hang in there. It's tough. They are very fast, so we're trying to find their secrets and keep up.
And is there like a home ground advantage coming to Carco with Formula Vs, that is for you guys, or
Not really.
it makes no difference?
Not really. I think Collie, because it's more a driver track, so like the speed of the engines doesn't matter as much. Like the 1200s can beat the 1600s down there.
And is there anything special planned from your side of the fence when it comes to the organisation and what happens here at Carco Raceway for the upcoming challenge?
It's going to be a lot of work. So we've got the committee working hard already.
Any surprises?
Not that I hope not.
No special guest entertainment like Robbie Williams or anybody like that coming in?
I wish.
Jimmy Barnes, maybe?
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, that'd be good. Now, so Kathy, you race as well,
I do.
and so do other members of your family. So how's your prep going for 2024? Is there much change with the car?
So my car, I got an engine refresh at the end of last year, so that's still going really well.
Does it feel good?
I'm fourth today, so that's been a really good race meet for
And you
me.
feel the difference with the new engine?
Yeah, I'm keeping up and not being swamped by 1200s. So.
And will it keep you in good stead for the rest of the season as well, do you think?
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah, good. And so round one here this weekend is also the Jerry Prosser Memorial. Can you tell us a bit about Jerry and his Formula V legacy, please?
Yeah, so Jerry Prosser had a mechanics workshop, and he was very involved from the beginning of Formula V and was keeping all the cars running, doing engines. And Saturday mornings he'd open up his workshop for the V members to come and work on their cars and have a barbecue breakfast, and he's really missed, and it's left a big hole with engine building.
And how long was Jerry involved with Formula Vs? Decades.
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 Yeah, very passionate. Go over east, and
That's wonderful.
Come
Listen,
everywhere.
I wish you the very best for this season. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And it's very great. It's great to meet you.
Thank you.
Historic touring cars for race number 3 of day 1 here at Carco Raceway, and it was a great jump from Brian Bondi in car number 89, their HQ Holden Monaro, from Peter Piscaneri all the way from the southwest of Western Australia, and these two got off to a really good lead and started to pull away from the big galaxy of Don Behetz and Greg Barr in the XU1 Tirana. We pick up on the Tirana, and Simon Northey also making a great getaway in car number 44, and then a good selection and wide variety of different marks in the historic touring cars. Over the hill for the first time, and Brian Bondi already starting to use up those tyres. Nice and sideways drift across the top of the hill and down into turn number 6. Peter Piscaneri driving on the traditional lines at the moment, looking for a run through on John Bondi this time. Side by side into turn number 7. Piscaneri runs John Bondi really wide. Bondi able to keep the momentum up, moves back across in front of the Mustang. We should get a second look at this from our camera down in turn number 1. As we look back towards turn number 7, Piscaneri all crossed up as well as Brian Bondi running wide. Bondi with the momentum, just able to pull back across in front of the Mustang. And Greg Barr in the GTR XU1, the LJ Tirana, holding firm in third position. And then some great battles happening further back with Chris Chang in the Alfa Romeo, Stephen Wellstead and Trevor Fairs in car number 95. Back up and over the top of the hill, it's all John Bondi doing it well now by 4 or 5 car lengths over Peter Piscaneri and Greg Barr. Don Behetz in the 427 Galaxy, holding strong in 4th position at the moment from Simon Northey. Vandenwright family back again for season 2024 in their TC Cortinas. Don Behetz with a lot of motor car to try and pull up in time for turn number 6. Unfortunately for Bob O'Neill in that beautiful red and black EH, a retirement in race number 1 for Bob O'Neill. Laurie Lapsley coming straight across in front of the Vandenright family as they go two wide, two Cortinas, two very unusual cars for historic touring car racing. Laurie Lapsley in that beautiful Mark II Jaguar, still able to pull away slightly from the two Vandenright cars as we pick up on Simon Northey looking for an attack on the big 427 Galaxy of Don Behetz. But back up front, the move for the lead goes to Peter Piscanieri. John Bondi running very wide again in that very familiar move that we saw earlier on, only to come undone in the exit of turn number 1. John able to get the car turned around and back on the track again, didn't lose any position. But race number 1 pretty much all over now as Peter Piscanieri has a great win, crosses the line a long way in front of car number 89 of John Bondi in the HQ Holden Monaro, and taking out third by 0.4 of a second goes to Don Behetz in car 222. Time Challenge were next out on the circuit here at carco.com.au Raceway, and a very healthy field to start off season 2024. Wide range of vehicles, everything from this beautiful Caterham of Ross Murray, a very, very fast car, under 1 minute laps for that Caterham. Porsches, Celicas, Camaros, and beautiful to see Craig Saywell's RX3 Mazda out there, the fire-breathing rotary. Bill McLaren out there in the WRX as well. Lane Van Schmalen, Joe Douglas having his first run in a Subaru BRZ. And we pick up on car number 23 of Lane Van Schmalen having a big off at the top of the hill. And that beautiful Celica. Peter Kello out there in the R32 Nissan Skyline, painted up in the camouflage paint job for season 2024. Ross Murray making very light work of that slower car on the way down into turn number 6. So we pick up with Peter Kello again, car number 67 in the R32. A lot of grunt in a straight line, as you would expect from that 6-cylinder twin turbo. Car 179 is the Chev Camaro of Neville Zaccoli. As we say, you don't have to have a full-on race car to come and do Time Challenge. There's Noah Byrne here in this beautiful little XL. This is his first attempt at Time Challenge. And it's a great way to get involved in motorsport. It's not door handle to door handle racing. It's run on a demerit point system by being fined demerit points for going too fast, and you'll also get fined for going slower. It's a great way to get involved. Come and have a talk to the people at the WA Sporting Car Club as our leader and winner, Ryan Appleby, takes the win from the RX3 Mazda of Craig Saywell, and Peter Toey in the Golf R Wagon, the Mark 7, takes out third position. For the first time for season 2024, it's FSR, and a great start by Cooper Cuts holding Brandon Duncombe in the yellow and black car out to second place, but the battle was on for third as they headed up through the S's and further back, nearly 3 wide as they go through the S's for the first time. Chris Reindler in there with Adam Lyle in car number 14, but it was a good clean break from car 16 of Cooper Cuts as Stuart Burns unfortunately gets together with car 18 of Brad Russell at the top of the hill. Back to our leader, and it was all Cooper Cuts doing it really well very early in the race from Brandon Duncombe, and then Bryce Moore making a return to Carco Raceway in season 2024. These three starting to get away as we pick up on the new driver, Derek Burns, a guy that's been around Carco Raceway for a lot of years, deciding to dabble into FSR into season 2024. Adam Lyle, car number 14, the blue and yellow car, holding off a very quick Chris Reindler on his return to Carco. It's been many years since we've seen Chris Reindler in competitive motorsport here at Carco Raceway. Zara Horn in car number 11, our only female driver so far in FSR, season 2024. As we pick up on this battle with Chris Reindler and Adam Lyle. Chris right in the gearbox this time, down into turn number 6 as we pick up on Zara Horn. It runs really wide on the exit of turn number 7, and she will incur a warning for exceeding track limits for that one. As they come up through the F's, it's still car number 16, Cooper Cutts, the son of sprint car driver in Terry Cutts out of Manjimup. Cooper having a great opening race meeting here at carco.com.au Raceway as he holding off Brandon Duncombe from Bryce Moore. And unfortunately for car number 92, John DiGiovanni, unfortunately running a little bit wide in turn number 7 and burying the front of his FSR. But at the finish, it was all Cooper Cutts from Brandon Duncombe, and Bryce Moore takes out third place. Holden HQs for their second race of season 2024, and a minor scuffle happening already down into turn number 1 with Stuart Kenny and Michael Howlett resuming hostilities after race number 1. Kenny doing really well to hold out Michael Howlett, but Michael had the preferred line into turn number 4 and takes the lead as they disappeared up and over the top of the hill for the first time. With Troy Kent in third, Phil Breen in fourth, and Todd Faulkner having an absolute stellar run here in race number 2. Across the line for the first time, on point, Michael Howlett. Holding off Stuart Kenny by 1 or 2 car lengths as they throw the cars into turn number 1 for the second time. See Stuart Kenny starting to get car number 72 a little bit sideways on those tyres. But the battle was happening right back here with Alfonsi, Peter Marsh, Rory Sharp. Still out in front, it was Michael Howlett from Stuart Kenny. These guys were at it for the entire season 2023, and it looks like that's going to be the story again for season 2024, with Todd Faulkner running side by side with car 3 of Troy Kent, and then further back to Brett O'Keefe, Rory Sharp and Mark Alfonsi having a great battle down into turn number 1. Troy Kent Using a alternative line out there in turn number 4, right out wide in amongst the marbles and the sand, as the HQ's up and over the top of the hill into a very strong easterly breeze here at Carco Raceway. Not only affecting the drivers and the pit crew, but also affecting our camera people dotted all around Carco Raceway. There's our leaders again down into turn number 1. Now Kenny takes over the lead from Michael Howlett. Laps counting down. We're coming to the end of this one. Can Kenny hold out Michael Howlett for third place? The battle was on as well, with Phil Breen up into third at the moment from Troy Kent and Todd Faulknell in car 24. Some more side-by-side action with car from the southwest in Mark Alfonsi, running alongside Brett O'Keefe. Up and over the top of the hill again, Stuart Kenny leading the way down into turn number 6 with Michael Howlett looking for a way through, but this battle was still raging with Troy Kent and Todd Faulknell side by side again on the exit of turn number 7 and across the stripe. Down into 6 for the last time. Michael Howlett pulls out and tries to go down the inside of Stuart Kenny. Side by side through the apex of the corner. Now the all-important exit with Stuart Kenny able to come over the top of the hill in first place, holding off Michael Howlett in car number 1, the current state champion here at carco.com.au Raceway. The winner by 0.3 of a second goes to car 72 of Stuart Kenny over Michael Howlett, and car number 3 of Troy Kent coming home for third. Formula V for race number 2, and we have somebody very, very slow to get away. I think that was Connor Welsh right back at the back of the field, everybody avoiding him. Touch ball play on as we pick up with our leader, and it's that man again, car number 71 of Rod Lisson, from Paul Moltoni, Mason Legg and Kathy Lisson, and Vinny Padawanu rounding out our top 5 as we head up and over the top of the hill for the first time. Good sized field of Formula Vs for their debuts in season 2024. A few names missing, and Dave Casely and Franz Esterbauer are the 2 notables. And hopefully we will see those 2 at round number 2. Now this battle between Moltoni and Rod Lisson continuing on from race number 1, and we throw in Mason Legg as well in car number 85, a lot closer to the back of Rod Lisson this time. And Rod's wife Kathy in car number 11 holding down 4th position. They're starting to get away from Vinny Padawanu in car number 69 as they head down into turn number 1 for the second time. In the 1200 category cast, it was Andrew Lockett leading the way from his father, Miles Lockett. And in 3rd position at the moment, it was April Welsh in car number 33. It's Moltoni defending his line down into turn number 7, not allowing Rod Lisson any way through. And Mason Legg right on the back now as we pick up with Andrew Lockett, Miles Lockett, and unfortunately for April, backing it into turn number 7 in car number 33, and that will put pay to a good result here in race number 2 for our Formula Vs. Miles Lockett unable to do anything about his very fast son out in front. Andrew doing a great job again in season 2024. A little bit further back we have Callum Lamont being chased down by the freshly new paint job on Bruce Welsh's 30th anniversary car. As we're coming across the top of the hill, Rod Lisson now back to the point from Paul Moltoni and Mason Legg. And not too far behind was Kathy Lisson. The 1200cc category well represented at round number 1 for season 2024, with the Lockett boys out in front and a long way back to third position now, as these two 1200cc drivers get right away from Callum Lamont. Moltoni now takes over the lead from Lisson, and Bruce Welsh coming under attack now from Callum Lamont as they go down into turn number 6. Laps winding down in this one. For our 1200cc category, it was Andrew Lockett over his father Miles, and Callum Lamont takes out third position. Kathy Lisson able to get around Moltoni and her husband Rod Lisson. She takes out the win, the first win in Western Australia by a female Formula V driver. Congratulations to Kathy Lisson from Mason Legg and Paul Moltoni. Race number 2 for historic touring cars here at carco.com.au Raceway, and a good start this time from the American muscle car, the Ford Mustang of Peter Piscaneri, over the Holden HQ of John Bondi. Head up through the S's for the first time. Mitch Evans in the ex-Jim Runciman Mini, all over the back of the big Galaxy, as the Galaxy lifts the front right-hand wheel up and over the bus stop chicane. We pick up on the EH of Bob O'Neill. Unfortunately, not a good day for Bob O'Neill at round number 1, but we're sure to see Bob O'Neill return with that car bigger and better in round number 2. It's all Peter Piscaneri at the moment by 3 car lengths over John Bondi, but how's Mitch Evans, a little mini in a V8 sandwich as they head down towards turn number 6, just out horsepowered by the Galaxy and also Simon Northey in the Mustang. Into turn number 7 for the first time, and you can start to see the cars are sliding around already. Few light raindrops occurring out on the different parts of the circuit on the Saturday. As you can see by our camera shot, starting to get very, very dark at the circuit. But further back, there was more battles happening, with Stephen Wilkes having a great battle all race long with car number 95 of Trevor Fairs, the 2 Mini Cooper S's. And this was a great battle as well, with Simon Northey looking for a way through underneath Don Behet's down into turn number 7. Wasn't going to happen that time through. One of the Vandenright cars coming under attack from Michael Gallagher in the Mark II Jaguar, and just in front Chris Chang in the Alfa Romeo. And this is that little Mini Cooper S battle with Trevor Fairs in car number 95, holding off that beautiful sky blue Mini of Stephen Wilkes. Stephen Wellstead also having a crack out there as well in a very quick little Mini, car number 67. But this, no doubt, is the fastest Mini in Western Australia at the moment. Car number 16 of Mitch Evans, doing a great job out there in amongst some high horsepower V8s. Up and over the top of the hill again at turn number 5. Chris Chang holding off Michael Gallagher as a sneaky move up the inside by Simon Northey, only to have the nose chopped off by Don Behet's. Mark II of Laurie Lapsley heading past. The Mark II Jaguar with Mike Gallagher in car number 60, the second of the Mark IIs. And they have a Alfa Romeo stuck right in the middle at the moment of Chris Chang. It was all Peter Piscaneri in this one, and he takes out a comfortable lead and a comfortable win over John Bondi in the HQ Monaro, and in third place goes to Simon Northey in the Ford Mustang. Time Challenge event number 2 on your Saturday here at carco.com.au Raceway. And a big field, as we said earlier in our coverage, a big field, a wide variety, different marks of cars. And this is a fantastic way to start your career in motorsport. You don't have to spend $1 million to go racing. As you can see, there's a lot of street cars out there. There are, of course, some older race cars out there as well. Big field, everything from a Porsche to an RX-8. There's Ford Escorts, Toyota Celicas, Volkswagen Golfs, the Ford Cortina there from 1964. Coming up in your shot right now is car number 164. Fastest car out on the circuit, although that is not important in Time Challenge, was car number 28 of Ross Murray, a very accomplished driver that we've seen in other categories at carco.com.au Raceway over the years. He's decided that Time Challenge in the Caterham 7 was going to be his go-to car this weekend. A very, very quick little motor car. Porsche 944, unfortunately failing to finish event number 2. Pick up on that beautifully presented Hyundai XL of Noah Byrne, a 15-year-old guy having a first crack this weekend in Time Challenge and doing very, very well for himself. Jamie Scott out there as the Ford Mark II Escort from 1977, the sky blue car number 51. Jamie is a very well executed Time Challenge driver, being state champion in the past. These cars also get to participate in round the houses racing in Northam and Albany throughout the motor racing season as well. But at the end, the winner was Ivan Michelsen from car number 15 of Norm Bromley, and Ryan Appleby takes out third position. After the race, Slim Jim catches up with Tony Michelsen.
I'm here with Tony Michelsen, who is the 2023 WA Sporting Car Club Modern Regularity Champion. Congratulations, Tony. Great year last year, obviously. Now, what is it about Time Challenge regularity that you're interested in? What attracts you to that form of the sport?
The best thing about Time Challenge is it's affordable for most people.
Okay.
This car that I'm driving now is a street car. It's licensed. You can go shopping to Coles on Monday and drive it at the track also. So that's a big plus.
Okay. But obviously, it's the discipline of actually setting a standard on a racetrack and sort of maintaining that for the race. Is that the whole idea of the challenge?
Yeah, the Time Challenge regularity is all about maintaining your lap times and being as precise as you possibly can throughout the challenge. And I've found over the years the only way you can possibly do that accurately is to go flat out.
Flat out.
Absolutely flat out.
So even when you're practicing and warming up on the track, you go flat out.
You've got to go flat out to get to your time, what you've nominated. And if you try and sandbag and come off and say, oh, I'll go 2 seconds slower, you will never do it. You've got to be right on.
Go for broke from the outset.
Yep. And then if you're doing the same thing and sliding in each corner and doing that, well, you've got a good chance.
So what attracted you to the sport, that type of that part of the sport as it is? I mean, what was it?
Well,
Did you feel more comfortable, challenging yourself? Because it really is it's a self-challenge, isn't it, to keep, and a discipline
It is.
comparative to actually competing against other races.
It is very difficult to be in a pack of 10 cars and try not to get interfered with. And, you may have to go around them and you've got
You can't run your race. You're being the terms are being dictated to you by the other drivers.
You've got to flow, So it's a very challenging thing to do, rather than to drop the flag, where a lot of that is how much money you've got in your car.
Okay, so how are you going to go for 2024? Have you got good aspirations of taking out the championship again this year?
I would certainly like to. In this category of modern that I'm in, I'm going to try my best to just maintain the status quo without doing dramatic things to the car, so I can just maintain that.
So the car's in exactly the same nick it was in last year?
Pretty much, apart from tyres,
Yeah, but tyres have changed for the entire scene now, haven't they?
Yeah, that's right, they have done.
It's the new rule this year, isn't it, for 2024?
Yeah, you've got to have your nominated tyres, and tyres that you trust and you know what they're going to do as well.
Locally, who was your biggest challenger?
I guess Michael Costa on the AU Falcon over there. He was second last year in a similar type of car, so slightly different times. He's a bit quicker than I am, but I was a little bit more accurate.
Okay, no worries.
Yeah,
and so what was your nominated time?
71 seconds.
Incredible.
Yeah, so.
And that's going flat out.
Yeah, that's
in this vehicle.
That's flat out with the Australian Ford GTP Falcon.
And how long have you been actually racing for? How long have you been driving for?
I've been doing regularity. I've got a Mustang as well, so
sure.
I've been doing it for about 10 years. Yeah.
10 years.
Yeah.
You still loving it?
Oh, still loving it. Yeah.
So look forward to every weekend you come down here to Carco Raceway to have a go?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well done, mate. Great to meet you, Tony. I wish you the greatest success in 2024.
Yep, thank you very much.
Final race for Holden HQs here at carco.com.au Raceway. And a great start, as per usual, from Stuart Kenny, but check out Troy Kent, car number 3, side by side with the current state champion in Michael Howlett. Unfortunately on the wrong side of the racetrack, and Troy not able to get in front of Michael Howlett before they get to turn number 4. So this is going to allow Howlett straight up the inside. Todd Faulknell holding strong in 4th position at the moment in car number 24. As they come up and over the top of the hill, Troy Kent bump drafting Michael Howlett, the current state champion, as they headed down into turn number 6 for the first time. It was side by side on the way out of turn number 6, but Michael Howlett, just a little bit of extra grunt under the bonnet of car number 1, able to maintain 2nd position over car 3 of Troy Kent. And we go back to 24 of Todd Faulknell, having an exceptional day. A big turnaround for car number 24 on day 1 of our 2024 season here at carco.com.au Raceway. It was all Stuart Kenny on the exit of turn number 2 for the second time. Out to 5 or 6 car lengths over Michael Howlett. And this battle had been raging in race number 1 and race number 2. Phil Breen and Peter Marsh now starting to get on the back of car 24 of Todd Faulknell as they made their way up through the S's. Down into turn number 6, fiery Phil Breen, guy that's done many laps around carco.com.au Raceway, holding off a determined Todd Faulknell in car number 24 at the moment. Under very threatening skies here at carco.com.au Raceway, few raindrops hitting the racetrack in certain parts of the circuit. But it's still Phil Breen holding off car 24 of Faulknell. Breen starting to move away slightly from car number 24 of Todd Faulknell as they go down into 6. But Faulknell able to gain 2 or 3 car lengths on the way up and over the top of the hill and right back into the slipstream of car 75 of Phil Breen. Faulknell looking very, very threatening now as they head up and over the top of the hill. Phil Breen goes defensive down into turn number 6, but then allows the car to run really wide to driver's left, and that's going to cost him big time as the car understeers on the way out of turn number 6 and allows Faulknell straight up driver's right and up and over the top of the hill for the final time. And it was Stuart Kenny in car number 72, 3 from 3 on opening day of 2024 from Michael Howlett in car number 1, and rounding out position 3 goes to Troy Kent. Race number 3 for our Formula Vs, the 1600s and the 1200s combined on a very damp and wet, treacherous racetrack. You see the cars already starting to slip and slide into turn number 1 for the first time. Line astern as they headed into turn number 4, and all starting to use that alternative line, the go-kart line, right out wide, drivers right on turn number 4. But it was all Paul Maltoni trying to track down Kathy Lisson as they came down into turn number 6 and were greeted by the safety car boards and flags. You can see the drivers already arms in the air waving to indicate that they are slowing down, and we pick up what the cause of the safety car was, and unfortunately it was for young Connor Welsh just understeering off in the wet, tricky conditions down there in turn number 1. That caused a safety car for a duration of 2 laps. You can see the rain continuing to fall here at carco.com.au Raceway as they prepared to line up behind the safety car and proceed around the racetrack for one more lap. And we'll get going very, very shortly here with the commencement of race number 3 for the Formula Vs. It's Paul Maltoni over Kathy Lisson and Mason Legg. Vinnie Panuado in 4th. And then we go back to Andrew Lockett, Callum Lamont, Miles Lockett down there. We pick up our leaders, and Kathy just starts to a bit of compression lock up there on the way into turn number 1 as she tries to get underneath Paul Maltoni. Mason Legg also looking for a way through on car number 11 as they head up into turn number 4, just very, very tiptoeing around the racetrack at the moment. Super slippery out there as we hadn't had any rain for a long, long time here in Western Australia. But it's Maltoni now starting to move away from Kathy Lisson, coming under attack from car 85 of Mason Legg as they headed down into 6. Mason being able to get the job done on Kathy Lisson out of turn number 6 and able to get a good lead over car number 11 as they headed down into turn number 7. Signs of a slightly dry line starting to appear with that very strong easterly breeze that we had blowing all day at carco.com.au Raceway. We pick up on Vinnie Paduanu, car number 69. Unfortunately for Vinnie, going to run into problems in race number 3. But our leader, Paul Maltoni, out of 7 onto the Carco main straight, and a commanding lead now over Mason Legg in car number 85, driving the Polar RW06 model. Andrew Lockett now being able to get in front of the 1600cc car of Kathy Lisson, and Miles Lockett not too far off the gearbox now of Kathy as well. That's brought Callum Lamont right up into the playings as well, and Lamont now in front of Miles Lockett as they head across the stripe and reel off another lap here at carco.com.au Raceway. Miles Lockett now looking for a way through on the yellow car of Callum Lamont, who's trying to figure out how he can get past a 1600cc category car, and unfortunately that will be game over for car number 69 of Vinny Padawanu, doing his best to stay out there and just get some points. You see the slower drivers starting to come through on Vinny Padawanu now, doing the right thing, staying right out of the way. And at the end of the race, it goes to Andrew Lockett, 3 from 3 from Callum Lamont and Miles Lockett for the 1200cc category of Formula V. And our winner in the 1600cc goes to car number 6, Paul Moltoni, over 85 of Mason Legg, and Kathy Lisson in car number 11, coming home in 3rd. Race number 3 for historic touring cars here at carco.com.au Raceway, and a very even side-by-side start as they headed down into turn number 1, with Piscaneri in the Mustang and Bondi in the HQ Orange Monaro, and they've started to clear away already as they headed up through the S's for the first time. Unfortunately missing the big Ford Galaxy, and unfortunately for Don Behetz, he lost 3rd gear in race number 2. As they up and over the hill for the first time, there's his car number 16 again of Mitch Evans, a very, very quick little Mini, but just gets out horsepowered as you would expect. And there's the great example right into the boot lid of Simon Northey on the entry into 6, but by the time they get down to 7, a good 50 metres behind, and then a big understeer just to top it right off on that slightly damp track. Definitely a dry line out there now, but still super slippery. Car number 63, the Alfa Romeo of Chris Chang, unfortunately had an off in race number 2. But it was all Peter Piscaneri doing it handsomely out in front in that beautiful white Mustang from the orange HQ of John Bondi, car number 89. See the Vandenrijk car very, very wide, and unfortunately car number 60 of Mike Gallagher retiring. Another one of our beautifully prepared, as are all of our historic touring cars here in Western Australia, car number 95 of Trevor Fairs. Simon Northey just starting to light up the rears of that left-hand drive Mustang. Having a very good day is Simon Northey in car number 44. Just not enough horsepower to run with this particular Mustang of Peter Piscaneri or the Holden Monaro of John Bondi. The first of the 4 cylinders currently holding 4th position is car number 16 of Mitch Evans. One of the Vandenrijks having an attack on Chris Chang, car number 63, nice and close racing on the exit of turn number 7, a little bit sideways on the exit there for the Cortina, Mark III Cortina. But at the end of the race, it was that Ford Mustang of Peter Piscaneri takes the win from John Bondi, and Simon Northey rounds out our top 3. After the race, Slim Jim catches up with Clark of Course, Matthew Newman.
It's great to be back at Carco Raceway for the 2024 season. Today is the first day of racing, and I'm with the Clark of Course, Matthew Newman. Matt, thanks for taking time to talk to us today. Now, Matt, you basically are pretty much in charge of the event every time there is an event here at the Raceway, but you're also responsible for overseeing pretty much everything that happens on race day, so you're basically like the general.
Yeah, pretty much. In charge of every operational matter, and supported by a lot of other people in the background to make everything else work. But ultimately responsible.
There's quite a few people here in the nerve centre of Carco Raceway, isn't there?
Yeah, we got a small army up here of very experienced officials to ensure that everything runs smoothly, to make my life a lot easier.
Great. Now, how long have you been participating in motorsport?
Been an official for 11 years now. Started out through University Motorsport program.
Just explain what that is, University Motorsport program. What's that?
So Formula SAE, it's a global open wheel competition where university teams from around the world design, build and compete in small open wheel race cars every year. At the time, the WA Sporting Car Club was sponsoring our team, and part of that sponsorship deal was a few of us would come up to the Raceway. I started out as a pit lane official that year.
Okay.
Got hooked on it from day one.
Yeah.
And over time, I've just slowly worked my way up into race control and got all the qualifications, got all the training necessary to now run these state championship events.
So have you actually raced yourself? You've ever...
Not competitively, no. I have driven a few race cars as a bit of fun, and when I was doing Formula SAE through uni as well, did a bit of competitive driver training, but never a race, no.
So tell us, how did you get into this role of clerk of course?
Like very early on, I had the goal of being upstairs in race control, and I was actually quite lucky that there was a few experienced officials about 10 years ago who went, you could go a long way, and so they took me under their wing, trained me up at our little club events, like our tarmac sports events.
Okay.
And from there, worked my way up, and a few more people noticed and were able to teach me and bring me forward into these positions now.
And what does the role entail, totally? Give us a full overview of what you're involved with on a race day.
On a race day, effectively I'm responsible for ensuring every session runs on track safely and fairly. I'm also responsible for all the officials who are out in all sorts of weather conditions. They provide me with all the information. I then make the decisions, such as neutralising a race, suspending a race, and I also determine whether drivers have breached any regulations as well.
Okay. And so far in your career, 11 years, which is a fairly long time, so you would have seen quite a few great races, and also you would have a few personal highlights when it comes to racing and race events. Yeah,
like some of my main highlights have occurred in the past 12 months, actually. Being an assistant clerk of the course at Supercars last year was a big one.
Was that your first Supercars
No,
event?
I've done Supercars in a range of different roles, but that was the first time I've actually been as part of the clerk of the course team at Supercars. And then being the clerk of the course for the Excel Nationals at the end of last year was also a big highlight.
It was a hugely successful weekend that weekend, the Excel Nationals, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a very successful weekend. Lots of work, not just during the event, but in the lead up to as well. The clerk, of course, is also involved in a lot of the prep too.
Yeah, okay. So have you got any advice for those wanting to get into the administration or the coordination for race days for competitive motorsport?
I guess for me, it's just if you're interested, stick your hand up, make yourself known. There's a lot of people in these roles who are willing to train people up, bring them under their wing and carry them through into these high-level positions.
Great. So most clubs, no matter what the sport is, are very reliant on and can only survive on the benefits they gain from having great volunteers, and there's a lot of family affiliation lineage here when it comes to motorsport. So motorsport is no different. They obviously need the volunteers and that support from family to make it a viable sport, don't they?
100%, yeah. This sport doesn't run without volunteers. All the officials at all levels are volunteers, unless you get up to the heights of being a Supercars race director where you get paid for it. But yeah, these sports don't run without volunteers, and even weekends like this, we get nearly 100 people who are willing to give up their entire weekend, and even in weeks lead up to organise.
It's a fantastic commitment, then, isn't it? Really,
100%.
It's wonderful.
It's a huge commitment. So I'm very grateful that these people give up their time to make these events run, and I'm sure the competitors are as well.
Mate, I wish you a great success for 2024. Thank you very much for your time, Matt.
Thank you very much.
Race number 3 for Time Challenge, and we're going to go on board a beautiful Caterham 7 driven by Ross Murray as he takes us for a couple of laps around carco.com.au Raceway. Let's sit back and enjoy the skills of Ross Murray. Ross Murray in that beautiful Caterham 7, showing how it's done around carco.com.au Raceway. A very experienced race car driver, as you could tell by that footage there, and the closing speed of that car was incredible. But at the checkered flag, it goes to the Rotary RX3 of Craig Saywell from Renan Sanchez, and Bill McLaren coming home in the WRX in third position. Last race on the program for day one here at carco.com.au Raceway is FSR. Let's go on board with Derek Burns to take the start. Fantastic onboard footage there from Derek Burns, FSR, as we watched his son blow past him down there into turn number 7, car number 3 of Stuart Burns. These high revving motorcycle engine powered vehicles, very, very quick around carco.com.au Raceway, up and over the top of the hill and down into 7, and these guys approaching 230, 240 kilometres an hour, and then very, very late on the brakes. A mixture of mechanical and aerodynamic aids, and they produce some very, very close and very fast racing around carco.com.au Raceway under very stormy clouds later on in the afternoon. But out in front, it was all Cooper Cups, but Brandon Duncombe not letting him go this time, and Bryce Moore is still in there for third position at the moment. These guys starting to break away now from the rest of the pack as we pick up on Jay Wong, the car number 88. Our leader's already up and over the top of the hill again. No change in the order again this time. It's still Cooper Cuts in car number 16 from 29 of Brandon Duncombe. And then we go back to the grey car of Bryce Moore making a return to carco.com.au Raceway in season 2024. Andrew Connor in car number 66 trying to get through the inside here, just about contact through the apex of the corner, but at the checkered flag, 3 from 3 on day number 1 goes to Cooper Cuts from Brandon Duncombe in car number 29, and rounding out your top 3, car number 88 of Bryce Moore. That's a wrap for round 1, day 1. Keep an eye out on our socials for updates and more highlights, and we hope to see you trackside at our next race meet.